It's time for the Splash Live from Civic Center TV, featuring stories from and about people like you in the greater West Bloomfield area. Simulcast on cable, 89.3 Lakes FM, social media, and the web. Now live from Green Media Center on Walnut Lake Road, it's the Splash Live.
Live, local, and social, it's the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. Thank you so much for joining us on Facebook, Civic Center TV 15, YouTube, Civic Center TV. I'm your host for today, Kevin McIntosh. We appreciate you, and we have a lot to talk about. First, starting off with local police providing their condolences to the Oakland County Sheriff's Office, who over the weekend lost Deputy Sheriff Bradley J. Reckling when he was killed conducting surveillance on a stolen vehicle in Detroit. Now, the story is he and other detectives were actually searching for a stolen vehicle from Red Oaks Water Park earlier in the day when he took fire from some of the occupants of the stolen vehicle, all who were later apprehended, by the way. Now, Deputy Reckling, he served with the Sheriff's Office for 9 years, and he is survived by his 4 children and his wife, as you can see here on Civic Center TV as well. The Orchard Lake Police Department has provided a link to a fundraiser to support Sheriff Reckling's family in the wake of this tragedy. To find out more information on this fundraiser, visit them on Facebook, Orchard Lake Police on Facebook, to find out more information regarding this fundraiser to support. After a week of severe weather, now is the best time to be prepared rather than waiting for the storm to happen. Sign up for free alerts from Oakland County and their Oak Alert notifications. The free notification system shares official information on threats, disaster and evacuation notices, and other emergencies. It's better to be prepared in advance. So go ahead and download, or find out more about that. Just visit oakgov.com/alert. That's alert, A-L-E-R-T. And learn more visiting them on Facebook, oakgov.eo on Facebook as well. Plenty more going on. Specifically, over the weekend, it was party time in Keego Harbor. This past Friday, it was the official start of the summer, specifically in Keego Harbor, with their first block party of 2024. A chance for everyone in the community to come together, enjoy the nice weather, and celebrate the summer.
So it's put on by Keego Harbor Parks and Rec, which is a volunteer commission. And so we do 3 of these events for the block parties. It's the 3rd Friday of June, July, and August. And so we hope to see everyone out here for the future ones too.
A day full of games for the entire family. Food, great food, by the way, provided by the Grill Wrap. Live performances from a local band. If you are familiar, Slowfoot was out there performing, putting on a great show, as well as local artists showcasing their art from Art Sale, as well as told by their director, Robin LaFrance.
Art Sale started 8 years ago. It's a local group, Facebook group, who host 2 shows a year, plus the 3 block party portions a year here in Keego. And it's a Facebook group you can join and view all kinds of things, events going on that people are sharing, all the artists that are a part of the group, fans of the art, classes that people are offering on the Art Sale page. But we just love sharing our art portion of the Keego Harbor.
And just to let you know, Art Sale isn't just open to Keego Harbor residents. It's actually open to residents in the surrounding areas of Greater West Bloomfield and more and beyond. So if you are interested, visit them on Facebook to get more information. Facebook.com/groups with an S/Art Sale, S-A-I-L, Art Sale. And they are looking for more artists and more people to show up and support the next Keego Harbor Block Party, which is happening July 19th, and it is a Friday. So find out more about that so you can mark it on your calendars. Facebook at KH Parks, so you can get everything that you need to know right there. Now, West Bloomfield has had a lot of star power lately on the football field. And over the weekend, perhaps we say the next great Laker took the field as well. The Splash Live's very own Tyler Keith has the story.
After 4 years at West Bloomfield High School and becoming one of the most decorated football players in the history of Michigan sports, Brandon Davis Swain is now doing his part to inspire the next generation.
This is our first camp, so giving back because I went to countless of camps when I was little. So this is just the first one for the little kids. And I want to do more eventually.
It's really a cool experience because not only I get to see my son in action, I get to see other kids that's on my team and other teams that play with my son in action as well. This is where they have fun at, when they just get to play around and not run laps and not do push-ups and just have fun. I just love being around it, being the fly on the wall sometimes, and even coaching.
It was inspired before Brandon was even born. My mother, God rest her soul, Renee Davis, served in the community, and that's where I get it from. She worked at the recreation centers. That's why I really get my inspiration from her, to be able to give back everything free, don't charge the kids, and I'm just teaching my son to do the same thing.
My main thing is just make sure they have fun and then learn some new things today.
I mainly came out to the camp and because it was free and it was a good opportunity, just meet new people. I mean, it's a great experience to know where I could go and things like that.
Having this family atmosphere and having, people around you that care and are putting into you, and showing that you mean something, and that's big just in itself. You know what I mean?
These kids are making friends from all over the state, all over the city, east side, west side, north side, suburbs, west suburbs, south. It just creates a friendship atmosphere with everybody.
I think it's all about inspiring them to be something great, showing them that they can be everything that they can be. And if everybody does this and give back, it'll be more Brandon Davis Swains.
Teaching them life lessons, as well as just showing up and just being a part of a team, and just showing them that it's not only about them, but it's about the person next to them, and they will only be as good as the person that's next to them.
Brandon's a great kid. He's going to do great things at Colorado, and I'm so glad that, like I said, we got a chance to be out here and participate in his first camp with him. Prime got him a great one, man. Straight from the D. Dog.
After 4 years of inspiring us on the football field every Friday in West Bloomfield, now Brandon Davis Swain has a new mission: to inspire the next generation of Laker greats. At West Bloomfield High School, I'm Tyler Kieft, Civic Center TV.
Great information, great story, Tyler, by the way. A lot of great action and star power right here in our West Bloomfield community. We love to hear that and see that. You want to find out more about that story, you can see it on our website, civiccentertv.com. Click on the On Demand tab as well. Now, in order to actually continue to be healthy, to actually get on the field, you actually have to make sure you're healthy in what you're consuming and physically fit. Join us right here on The Splash to talk about health and nutrition. We have from Thrive Nutrition and Wellness of West Bloomfield, Julie Feldman, join us on The Splash. Thank you for being here, Julie.
Thanks for having me. Good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, we're talking about a very, very interesting article from yahoo.com saying Americans aren't eating the necessary amount of fruits and vegetables. From your expertise and opinion right here in West Bloomfield, what would you have to say about that?
I would say that article is probably pretty accurate, actually. People don't consume enough fruits and vegetables. When you do ask people, what did you eat yesterday? And I do that every day with my clients. I'm pretty amazed how few, fresh things people are incorporating into their diet.
Now, a lot of us Americans, we like to be on the go. We like things that are convenient. And a lot of times with that's involving fast food or quick food, which can be processed food. So how does processed food contribute to the increased risk of disease?
Yeah, so our health is really in our control. I think a lot of times we think about health as being like something that happens to us. And I really work every day to try to empower my clients to take control of their health and well-being. I mean, not everything that happens to us we get to make a decision around, but there are so many things that we can do that are preventable. I think processed food has sort of gotten a very bad rap, and for the most part, ultra-processed things do contain, different chemicals, different ingredients, more pesticides, more emulsifiers, and other agents that we find in processed and packaged things. But not all processed food is terrible, so I don't want people to be fearful around food. Nutrition is really a safe space, and when you learn a bit about it, you can really make good choices and choose things in moderation and really make nutrition very practical for yourself. So are ultra processed foods a problem? Sure. If you're consuming most of your foods, from a package or from a fast food restaurant, or you're choosing those things multiple times a week or with a really high level of regularity, then we probably have something to talk about.
Right.
If you have things like that occasionally, I don't want people to think like, oh, I have so much fear around that, or I can't have any of that type of thing at all, because
Right.
that can, we sort of toe a line when it comes to nutrition in terms of making people aware without making them paranoid.
Yeah. Yeah, and it could be a cycle too of making yourself feel bad. Oh, I know I shouldn't do this, so I'm doing it feels bad. And then it can kind of, some people kind of feel bad, so they kind of consume food, and then when they consume food, they feel bad. So it's like an everlasting cycle with that too. But thank you for providing that information with processed food. Not all of it is bad, or it's in moderation. As long as it's in
Yeah, I
moderation,
mean,
it's not as bad.
unless you live on a farm, you're going to eat some
Good
processed
point.
food. So I
Good point.
think there's a lot of fear out there in the health and wellness space,
Mhm.
and it compels people to spend money and to do a lot of things that are outside their comfort zone, or maybe they're only able to follow those new guidelines for a week or a few weeks at a time. And I
Mhm.
really want people to make changes that are maintainable and practical and realistic for themselves.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that you said, there's a lot of emotion attached to this. I think that's sort of my focus and specialty, is on the mental health piece of nutrition, and how, when we think badly of ourselves, we continue to make poor choices, and that can be really quite a snowball effect. So, I don't want everyone to think like, oh, I messed up, we got food from this one
Yep.
restaurant, and now I'm terrible and I should just, forget it for this week and I'll start again next week, kind of a thing. I
Mhm.
don't ever think that nutrition has to be like that.
Yes, don't beat yourself up. It's okay. It's okay every now and then. Live your life. Have something good every now and then. But make sure, if you are able to just be a little bit more conscious. Right here on the Splash Live, join us, Julie Feldman from Thrive Nutrition and Wellness, West Bloomfield, talking about an article from Yahoo saying that the average American is not eating the necessary amount of fruits and vegetables. But let's talk about what the average American probably does consume a lot, Julie, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Sugary drinks, how do they affect our health?
Not well.
Yeah.
Again, all things in moderation. I think sugary drinks take a lot of the brunt of the impact of just our sort of on the go lifestyle. And
Yes.
but we get sugar from lots of places. So don't just think, sugary drinks are the only place that sugar's sort of harbored in your diet. We do get sugar from tons of places, including things that we often think of as really healthy, like a smoothie, for example, can be extremely high in sugar too. So
Oh, don't tell
I,
me that, Julie. Don't tell
I'm
me that.
sorry, but I want people to be informed
Right.
consumers so that they
Mm-hmm.
can they can make good choices for themselves. So, yeah, I mean, drinking a soda is never going to enhance your health unless, of course, um, you know, you have a low blood sugar, and that's the only thing accessible to you, and it's going to get your blood sugar to come back up
Mm-hmm.
with some quick speed. But generally speaking, sugary beverages are not where it's at. So we want
Ooh.
to be drinking lots of water and get our sugar from natural places like fruit, and dairy products have natural sugar in them, and vegetables have low amounts of sugar in them as well. But it says people aren't eating enough fruits and vegetables, but I don't know if people actually know how many fruits and vegetables they're supposed to be eating. So a
Ooh.
couple of quick little tips on that would be, really 7 to 10 servings of fruits and vegetables a day. I usually think about 2 servings of fruit, 2 to 3 maybe, and then the rest coming from vegetables.
Okay.
And also think a lot about variety. Produce gets their color from the different vitamins and minerals that they contain. So the more variety and color that you get in your diet, the more vitamins and minerals and variety of those things we're getting, including other compounds that aren't necessarily considered vitamins and minerals, like polyphenols and antioxidants,
Mm.
things that really help to maintain our overall health.
Okay. Thank you for breaking that down first and foremost. But if you don't mind, break it down a little bit more. You said 1 or 2 servings of fruit, such and such. What is considered a serving exactly?
Great question. So usually I would say a piece, like an apple or a banana, an orange, or a cup, can, about the size of your fist is about a serving. So
Mm.
you can kind of think of that. And again, even when I'm counseling people one-on-one, I'm really very rarely using measuring cups or a food scale. I really like this to be low pressure. Again, practical, maintainable, fun, approachable. This doesn't have to feel stressful.
Right.
So thinking about variety in that way. Whether it's an actual full serving or it's just this idea that I'm exposing my body and if I'm feeding kids, my kids' bodies to a variety of different produce, really teaching a powerful lesson in doing so.
Nice, nice. Thank you for providing that overall insight in regards to the sugary drinks and just overall health and just how it affects our mental, our emotions. It's a lot going on with health that we really need to pay more attention to. I want to ask you also, how do you feel the concept of, quote, food as medicine, end quote, influence your approach to nutrition?
Yeah, I do see food as medicine in many ways, I mean, people are very quick to fill a prescription from their physician to treat something or
Mm-hmm.
grab something from the pharmacy or buy something off TikTok, that some influencer said was good. And then we kind of disregard like the biggest thing that we do for our health every single day, which is nutrition. There's really not a single study on disease and health that doesn't involve in some capacity or another how we're fueling and feeding ourselves. Just think it's such an important topic. And a lot of times people wait till, they get some sort of diagnosis or something is wrong where they realize like, I need to address my nutrition. I
Exactly.
started my career working in the cardiac care unit
Mm-hmm.
and seeing patients after they had had a cardiac event, heart attack or stroke or something along those lines. And, it's like a big wake up call for people in that moment to say, oh, shoot, I better do something here. And I like to think of nutrition as preventative. I went into this field to really work with kids, honestly. And now I work, with kids and adults and really people of all ages. But learning how to feed yourself and fuel yourself, listening to your body, noticing how you feel after certain things, noticing if you're going to the bathroom every single day. Do you have gas and bloating all the time? Do you get migraines all the time? Do you have skin stuff all the time? That's your body's kind of way of yelling at you and saying, hey,
Yep.
something isn't right over here. So I encourage anyone listening, if you don't have a bowel movement every day, if you don't get good night's sleep, if your skin is always a mess, if your mood is always cycling up and down, if your weight is cycling up and down, all of these things, this is your body talking to you
Correct.
and saying something is off, and we can address it. That's probably what I love about my career the most is that when we make changes, it changes every aspect of somebody's life, not just the scale. Like the scale is almost like the last thing that I pay attention to be honest, but it enhances how people feel every day. It enhances their confidence. It enhances their mental health. So really powerful stuff.
Oh yeah, yeah. A wise philosopher by the name of Deion Sanders once said, "When you feel good, you play good. When you play good, they pay good. When they pay good, you feel good." And it goes in a circle. But we're talking about what you consume, just making you feel good, and how important that is. Using food as medicine. I'm so glad you broke that down. Before you go, any trends that you foresee in the field of nutrition, based on your expertise?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're definitely moving towards more plant forward eating. So, not necessarily being vegan or vegetarian, but just eating more meals that are plant based. Not everything needs to have a label on it. So, you don't have to do extreme things when it comes to nutrition. So, maybe, you do like to have meat or animal based products sometimes, but a couple of meals a week, maybe you make that are more plant based.
Mm-hmm.
So, lowering your total saturated fat and cholesterol intake and increasing your fiber intake and just plant diversity is super important. So I definitely see that as a trend and just gut health in general. We're just learning minute by minute more about the role that our gut health plays in our overall
Oh
health.
yeah.
I mean, every diagnosis from cancer to Alzheimer's to Parkinson's, you name it, we have new research drawing correlations between nutrition, gut health, and those outcomes. So I think you're going to see more and more by way of that. It's certainly a focus and a specialty of mine, focus on gut health. So I think that's a huge trend and will continue to be so as we develop more science to get us more information about how our gut functions and how it interacts with
Right.
our life. And really, kind of a nice quick takeaway for listeners is this idea that eating 30 different plants a week is sort of like a super fun way, in my opinion, to think about nutrition from an abundance perspective rather than a restrictive perspective. So instead of people thinking like, I got to cut out this and this and this, I'm thinking, what do I need to add into my diet to really make it powerful. So 30 different plants a week was research found. It's called the Healthy Gut Project, and it showed that if we get sort of that much variety in our diet, we're going to have a healthy GI tract and most likely a healthier self based on that. Plants in that research study, plants include fruits and vegetables, beans, lentils, nuts, seeds, herbs, spices, and grains. So it's not just 30 different vegetables, but 30 different plants is a really great takeaway for anyone listening.
Makes sense. Yeah, train your brain to get right there on the right track. We appreciate. I can ask you 1,000 more questions, but I know we got to go. I appreciate your time again. Julie Feldman from Thrive Nutrition and Wellness of West Bloomfield joined us right here on the Splash Live. Thank you again for your time.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, absolutely. So much going on with nutrition and how important it is, specifically for us right here in the greater West Bloomfield area. So we appreciate her time. You want to find out more about what they have going on, thrivenutritioncounseling.com. Visit the website. And thank you again for watching. Make sure you are watching on all of our platforms. We are live also on Facebook, Civic Center TV 15, YouTube, Civic Center TV. We are on AT&T, Channel 99, and Comcast, Channel 15. Thank you for also watching and engaging with us on all social media platforms. Now, since we are in the summer, it is hot. That means there's a lot of water usage in our community in a bunch of different ways. So join us on the Splash Live, talk about water and utility usage in West Bloomfield. We have the Director for the Water and Sewage Utilities of West Bloomfield Township, Justin Taylor. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thanks for having me back on, guys.
Since we are talking about summertime and water usage, let's just start off by saying, or just addressing, how does water usage in the summertime kind of differ from other seasons?
Like the week we had last week, after a hot week like that, it can be double what we're seeing 6 months prior. So just to put that in a numeric term, in January of 2023, we purchased 139 million gallons of water. In June of that same year, we were up at 262 million. So when we get into the warm months like June, July, August, we're seeing quite a drastic change in the usage of clean drinking water.
Justin, I think you just said something that just drove my curiosity even further. I have to ask you about this. Did you just mention that you had to purchase this water? Can you talk about the process of purchasing water for the township and how the usage of it affects those purchases?
Yeah, so we are a wholesale customer of Great Lakes Water Authority. We buy treated water from them. It comes to us through their large transmission mains and their distribution systems, goes through pumping stations to get to us here in West Bloomfield. And there's a lot of energy to get that up here to us, up and over. We're one of the furthest west suburban communities buying water from GLWA, as well as, excuse me, highest elevations. So 3 big factors that go into what ends up being our retail rates to our customers here. We've got our wholesale rate that we're paying GLWA, and then we turn around, the retail rate is what our customers see. The three biggest factors are the distance from the treatment plants and pumping stations. So we're one of the furthest out. The elevation. So our water comes from the Port Huron, from the Lake Huron watershed. We are 380 feet higher in sea level elevation than they are in Port Huron.
Wow.
So there's a lot of energy to push that water up that hill and get it to us. And then the last of the big 3 ticket items is peak hour demand. So when we're calling for the most water, when our customers are using the most water here in our community, in our system, happens to line up with when GLWA is sending the most to all the suburban communities. So we try to get away from that same peak hour demand and help keep our wholesale rates down, which in turn would keep down retail rates.
And it's a community effort on that part and educating the community on the water usage, which is part of what we're doing right here on the Splash Live. And joining us right here, Water and Sewage Utilities Director for West Bloomfield Township, Justin Taylor. Now, Justin, just kind of asking you, are there any mistakes that residents are making when it comes to their water usage, and how can they avoid them?
There are a few, a few things, just little tweaks you can make that will help save water, help save you, the customer, money in the long run. A lot of summer water usage is tied to irrigation for lawn and landscape. Flowers are blooming again, the grass is growing, it's green. If you have an automatic sprinkler system at your home, and let's say you had 4 zones and you run those for 20 to 30 minutes a zone.
Right.
Just by cutting that back even 10 minutes, if you're running it 30 minutes a zone, 4 zones, you're running water nonstop for upwards of 2 hours. If you cut that back 10 minutes a zone, you're going to save a tremendous amount of water, and in turn, that's dollars and cents at the end of the day for our customers.
Continue. Yeah.
And another good practice, not necessarily that it's a mistake, but if you water your lawn at night, in the nighttime hours, that gets us away from our peak hour demand, and it also lets the water set for a period. It's considered ideal because it reduces the tendency for the water to evaporate quickly from the plants and from the ground with the hot days sun out.
Oh, wow. See, you never think about that type of stuff, but that's important information to know. That way we are not wasting water. That takes a lot to even get to our communities first and foremost, which I don't think a lot of people even know and even are aware of. So thank you again for providing that. Are there any effective ways to maintain pools that use water while minimizing their water use and wastage?
Yes, absolutely. First and foremost, identify and repair any leak you have, especially if your pool is equipped with autofill capabilities. So it senses the water is low, it's going to call for more water. If you've got a leak, that can just be a vicious cycle. You're just constantly putting water into a pool. Another good use or another good item is to use a pool cover. Not only does that reduce evaporation during the hot days, but it can also reduce the amount of chemical that is needed for treatment. Again, saving the customer big dollars at the end of the day. A lot of the pools have a filter system, and those systems do need to be backwashed. Just do that when it's necessary. That process uses extra water, and that can add up quick.
Yep.
And one last effective way to help maintain your pool in these hot summer months is to add your sanitizers in the evening. The hot day sun will quicken the dissipation of chlorine and those chemicals you're putting in there. So if you do that at night, that helps sanitize it overnight and not as quickly as that dissipated.
Yep. So it really depends on, the time of day and your water, the type of pool. It's a lot of different factors that it seems like it goes into it, but nonetheless, you want to pay attention to it, what type of pool you have. It's the autofill, like you mentioned, and the time of day that you sanitize it and things of that nature. I completely understand that. Thank you for providing that perspective when it comes to that. And again, Justin Taylor, thank you again so much for your time and for being here. Any last important pieces of information regarding water and sewage usage for our West Bloomfield residents that you want to get out?
For a step moving forward for the future, for our children and their children.
Oh, yeah.
The township hosts 2 household hazardous waste days here, and where they're collecting all kinds of harmful chemicals, and those are being taken away correctly. Whether that's a landfill or it's got to be treated. Just dumping things like paint, anything like that. We don't want that in the sewers. Our sewer water has all the solids removed. It's then treated, and it ends up right back into the Southeast Michigan and Southern Great Lakes regions watershed. So that, some of these things don't break down very easily. So just, reach out to your communities, and I urge you to use those household hazardous waste days to properly dispose of things like that.
Oh yes, please be mindful of your waste and how it could possibly contaminate or get into our public drinking water and sewages, by the way. Thank you so much for letting the community know about that. Very, very important. From the Water and Sewage Utilities Director, Justin Taylor of West Bloomfield Township, thank you so much for joining us and providing that info.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, that is a key element when it comes to the summertime water usage, utilities usage. So we want to make sure we inform our community regarding that type of information. Thank you again for joining us and to talk about that. In regards to water, there's other things that we need to worry about, which locally we're worried about storms, especially during the summertime. So how do we properly prepare for a storm before, during, and after? So join us here on the Splash Live, Director of Emergency Management and Homeland Security for Oakland County. We have Tom Hardesty joining us. Thank you so much for being here, Tom.
Good morning, Kevin. Happy to be here.
Absolutely. We are already dealing with storms that have affected our community. What are some of the most critical steps residents should take to prepare for a storm?
Well, and you mentioned it right there, is prepare, thinking about these things ahead of time. One, having a plan, educating your family so that everyone knows what to do in case of a storm, depending on where they're at. But having supplies at home. Really, we tell people you want to be prepared just in case to kind of self-sustain for up to 72 hours. So having food supply, water, medications, supplies for your pets, making sure that you could last 72 hours if you needed to.
And making sure, the main thing from my understanding, like you said, food and water, and making sure you're prepared in case the electricity goes out. That's a key one right there. How does the county ensure that residents are adequately informed about upcoming storms?
There's several different ways for that. Always, weather radio is one good option to have. The National Weather Service puts out information right away. We encourage people to sign up for Oak Alert. It's available at our website. If you type in Oakland County Emergency Management, it'll bring up our homepage. You can sign up for alerts there, and we will send notifications for all different kinds of emergencies, one of those being for weather related, to tell people when they should take shelter. But also for other incidents. It could be for hazardous material spills, for police situations. So having multiple ways to get that kind of information. And then once you get inside and you seek shelter, you want to turn on your local newscast to continue to get updated information.
Right. That way you know when it's safe to come outside, if it's safe to come outside, that type of situation. Great thing to let our community know about. Join us right here on the Splash Live, Director of Emergency Management and Homeland Security for Oakland County, Tom Hardesty. Now, nature is nature, Tom, so we don't have control over it. But are there some things or effective ways homeowners can protect their property before a storm hits?
Well, it's walking around and looking at your property. If you have large trees or branches that are overhanging on your home, making sure those, if you can, take care of them safely yourself, if not, getting a contractor to do that. It's paying attention once that storm goes through, staying away from down power lines, staying at least 25 feet away from those. If you have a fence, a metal fence in your yard, understand if there's power lines down, be careful of that, because electricity can work through those fences, and unfortunately we've seen disasters when people come in contact with that. So just being safe, being aware of your surroundings, and like you said, looking at your yard and what you have there before the storm happens might help minimize that damage when it does come through.
Ooh, that information about the gate and the fence and the election, that was a key. See, we have to think about these things in advance as much as we possibly can. That way we can be proactive instead of reactive. You understand? So one other thing I want to talk about, locally we did in our local communities, there was some tornadoes that hit. And those are situations that sometimes cause for evacuation. Can you explain the evacuation process in place for Oakland County?
Yeah, so we work closely with every community. Every community in Oakland County has an emergency management representative. We work closely with West Bloomfield Township Police and Fire in each one of these communities. So there's plans in place, whether it be one community that needs to evacuate, our emergency operations center would open. We're in communication with them, learning quickly which roads are open, which roads might be closed due to that storm. Where are there shelters? Where are there places that people could go so that we can communicate those safe routes that people could go? So again, we would encourage people to sign up for Oak Alert to get information, pay attention to your local news.
Right.
But we work very closely with every community to make sure that we get people updated information.
Absolutely, absolutely. Stay on Oak Alert notifications, get that, stay up to date, watch the Splash Live, listen to local radio, things of that nature to stay up to date on storms, what they're doing, and how they are affecting our community. When we are experiencing a severe storm and we are at home, what is the best or most effective way for our families to shelter in place?
You want to stay away from doors and windows, get to an interior room. Even I had someone recent, my brother tells me that when he has a tornado wanting to come through, he has his wife put on a motorcycle helmet. Putting on many times, if there is a significant storm and significant damage to a home, head injuries are the most serious. So if that storm's coming through, put on a bike helmet, put on a motorcycle helmet, get to an interior room. You could even consider putting a mattress or that kind of thing over top of you, but sheltering away from those doors and windows is most important.
That was a great, when you first said motorcycle, I said, you saw the look on my face, I said motorcycle helmet, but head injuries, so smart, duh. Yes, do that. Bicycle helmets, all of that. Protect your head first. Get somewhere with no windows, nothing that can fall or move and things of that nature. Thank you so much for being here, Tom, and saying that. After the storm, what's the best way to go outside and assess what has happened, the damage, if there is any?
Well, you want to, again, you mentioned that word assess. Take a moment to look around. First, you're going to check on your family and make sure everybody's okay. But then take a minute to look around. Don't rush outside. If you have the ability to see out some windows, again, look out there. If your power is out, then you know there's a line down somewhere. So pay close attention when you go out there. And then once you're outside, you know it's safe to go outside. Check on your neighbors, especially those. If you have somebody nearby that you know might have special needs, have a plan in place with them as well so that they have people that can check on them. If you're a person with special needs, reach out to your neighbors or your family or somebody close that can check on you after that storm happens so that it's important to be able to help each other in that case.
Absolutely. Make sure you are in a position to help someone first, and then you help someone if you are, safely and securely able to. One last thing before we let you go, Tom. Just any information that we didn't get to or any key information that you want to let our greater West Bloomfield community know about when it comes to these storms in the summertime.
We've seen an increase in these over the last couple of years. Excessive heat is the problem as well. We've mentioned before having water, but staying hydrated ahead of time, taking care of yourself. Put yourself in good position before the storm happens so that if it happens, you're in good shape after it. But having a plan in place is really what makes the difference. Being prepared ahead of time will help you get through the storm when it happens.
Exactly. All the message that you want to take away from this overall is prepare in advance, do your research, find out what you need, and then make sure you do stock up on it. Thank you again, Director of Emergency Management and Homeland Security right here in Oakland County, Tom Hardesty. Thank you so much for being here and giving us your time.
Thanks, Kevin.
Absolutely. This is what we are here for, the Splash Light, to update our community on things that we can be proactive on just in case we are hit with some of these emergencies. Find out more information, oakgov.com, in regards to what they have going on. And thank you again for watching and streaming with us live on Facebook, Civic Center TV 15, YouTube, Civic Center TV, and we are also on Comcast Channel 15 and AT&T Channel 99. Thank you for being here and engaging with us on all of our platforms. As we continuously keep you updated with things going on right here in our community, we want to continuously talk about safety, specifically at our public parks. Lily Pad Springs, talking about safety and security, and joining us right here on The Splash to talk about it. We have Executive Director for West Bloomfield Parks, Kelly Heyer. Thank you again for being here, Kelly.
Morning.
I think we have slight audio issues, but we should be good. So first and foremost, we're kind of reflecting on an incident that happened at a local splash pad, and we want to talk about safety and security for our residents here. Has there been any specific steps that West Bloomfield Parks has taken to enhance safety and security protocols at our splash pad?
Well, thanks for asking about that. And yes, we reached out to staff immediately when the situation was unfolding in Rochester Hills. And we met with all of the staff a couple times, Sunday, Monday, and did some check-ins with the staff. In addition to that, we revisited our emergency action protocols. And what that means is we do some role playing. Because when you talk about and debrief from incidents, typically experts will say your mind in an emergency situation goes to memory recall. And so it's very helpful when you do role play that as a human, your brain has something in your memory to pull from and respond with. So for our emergency action protocols with Lily Pad Spring staff, that could be missing kids, it could be lost parents, it could be where a customer situation is escalating and we need to calm somebody down. So really, it's the whole gamut. In addition to that, we do a lot of training for situational awareness. And that's something that all of us in society could use from. And that strategy is making sure that when you park your car, you're getting out and surveying the scene, to when you're at work, that you're not on your phone, you are paying attention and seeing the different customers and monitoring if anybody is upset or maybe opposite feeling, that a parent is looking scared or they have an expression on their face that maybe they got separated from their child.
Good point. Good point. All different perspectives that we need to keep in mind so that we are alert, and staying away from the distractions is probably the biggest one. And I completely understand that. Now, how is WB Parks educating the community about safety measures and emergency procedures when visiting the splash pad?
Well, we have a great communication with West Bloomfield Police Department. So after the situation was unfolding in Rochester Hills, Chief Patton immediately directed staff to be more visible and more patrols in community spaces. And that did include Lily Pad Springs. As to your question, it depends on the situation. I would say the more typical situation is weather. So being in an outdoor facility, we have to constantly be alerted to or pay attention to radar for these incoming storms. And as you know, at West Bloomfield, we can get some severe winds and storms, and sometimes it just comes on us very suddenly. So when you talk about safety, actually the weather comes to mind. And so we have next to our public microphone, we have several different pre-typed out messages so the staff can read right from the script, Kevin, and so that it's clear, concise, and good directions to the public in the event of emergency. In addition to our EIPs, the other thing that we have at Lily Pad is two things. We have a 911 emergency call phone that is very close to the ticket booth and very accessible to public and staff. And we also have an emergency water shut-off button that could come in handy in the events that we need to quiet things down and to have people go to their cars.
Interesting. Overall, it seems like you have everything in place to make sure that we are covered, including the partnership and collaboration with the West Bloomfield Police Department. Join us right here on the Splash Live, Executive Director for the West Bloomfield Parks, Kelly Heyer, talking about safety at Lily Pad Springs, especially after the incident at Rochester Hills Pad. lily pad, or I should say, splash pad. We're just talking about different things on how we can be proactive right here in our community. Have you received any feedback from the community in regards to safety, or maybe even their reactions to what happened there and their safety here? Have you heard anything back from the community?
That is a great question, Kevin. And surprisingly, I wasn't sure how the community would react.
Right.
We had one customer reach out and wanted to discuss more, and a second customer did ask for a refund. But other than those two incidents, I personally did not hear anything. And we were very proactive in opening up the conversation with staff, and truly, surprisingly, very little feedback. However, I will say that Sunday, Father's Day, there was lower attendance than normal, I would say, on a holiday Sunday.
Okay.
But then Monday, Tuesday, perhaps with the hot weather, we saw our numbers go back up to what I would consider normal.
Okay. Well, overall, like we continue to say, it seems like we have everything that we need in place. We are in partnership with the local police department. The West Bloomfield Parks team knows the protocol. They are going over the protocol for emergencies. Also, any support systems that you do have, I know we briefly talked about talking to the staff who may have felt a certain type of way or been affected by it. What type of support systems do we have for the staff who may have been affected by it or may still be going through it?
Sure. As you saw, Oakland County put out several links to mental health support. And we have our HR manager that's always available, and she has a great relationship with staff to reach out to. But I would say the one thing that we also have available is our men's support group that is starting in July. This is a grant-funded position, a program. Mm-hmm. And I think this has come up in several conversations that I've seen from debriefing from the incident at Rochester Hills, is not being afraid to ask for help. And or if you see something, say something.
Absolutely.
So this is a public reminder for everyone, and you can't say it enough, is that we have a mental health crisis happening across the nation. And there's so many different groups and therapists and supports out there that we have to get to a position for people to feel comfortable and not embarrassed or not afraid or don't know what to do, to reach out and get some help. And so that goes for anybody that's feeling these feelings, or perhaps that you live with somebody that you're seeing this happen, that there are, and I'm not an expert, but I know that between Henry Ford, West Bloomfield, and Oakland County, we have two great resources right here in our backyards.
Mm-hmm. And this is what we love to essentially provide for our community in case of these type of situations. We hate for the situations to happen, but to know that these resources are here, are available, are local is a great thing. Kelly, before we let you go, any last messages, words that you want to let the community know about in regards to Lily Pad Springs or any other West Bloomfield parks before we depart today?
We're here for you, and staff, again, continues to revisit our emergency action protocols. But truly, if you see something, say something. We rely on the public as well as staff to make West Bloomfield a safe community.
Yes, and we will continue to make West Bloomfield a safe community as we all do our part to do such a thing. Thank you again for your time. Kelly Heyer, Executive Director for West Bloomfield Parks, joining us on the Splash Live. We appreciate your time and information.
Thank you.
Yes. This is just another resource that we have to kind of keep our community updated and let everyone know that we are doing everything to make sure everyone is safe and having fun during the summer. Find out more about everything going on at Lily Pad Springs and WB Parks in general at wbparks.org for more information. And we do have more information for you. We'll keep you updated because we are live, local, and social. It's the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM.
We'll be right back with the Splash Live. bringing you stories and memories from West Bloomfield. Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM.
Good nutrition can help make sure you have enough iron, calcium, and vitamin C in your body, which can make it harder for lead to enter your bloodstream. Help protect your family from the harmful effects of lead.
This is Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. On cable and the radio. On the web too, and on social media. Civic Center TV, television that's close to home. And now, back to The Splash, live.
Live, local, and social, it's The Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. Thank you so much for joining us here today. I am your host, Kevin McIntosh, as we continuously keep you updated with everything going and moving in the greater West Bloomfield area. That's including Orchard Lake, Sylvan Lake, West Bloomfield, as well as Keego Harbor. And specifically with Keego Harbor, we are welcoming a fresh new bakery in the community. Right here on The Splash Live is pastry chef and owner for Canal Bakery. We have Matt Neo joining us. And Matt, can you tell us how your early experiences with baking shaped your passion that has led you to this thriving business today?
Thank you. Good morning, guys. It started in Ivory Coast over 30 years ago. When I was working in a cocoa plantation, and that's when I started, falling in love with like the process of making chocolate. After spending a few years in Ivory Coast, went back to France and studied to become like brevet de maîtrise, which is a master pastry chef. And at the same time, I was dating someone who's from here. Mm-hmm. And end up finishing my work and diploma and come here in 2002 to work for the Ritz-Carlton for a year. And after decided to start opening my own business.
Nice. All right, so you have a very wide range of experiences that drew you right here to our community in Keego Harbor. But I want to start going back to the root of you saying you working on the cocoa bean plantation. Can you talk about that experience? How was that?
I can't describe it how beautiful it is. It's just like it's you and the nature and the beauty of the country and the beauty of the forest and the cocoa beans and the people. It's just honestly, if it wasn't for small issues happening in the country, I don't think I will be here at this moment.
Absolutely, it's the challenges that make us who we are. Get us to where we are ultimately and drive us to success. Now we know, in case our audience doesn't know, this isn't your first location. This isn't your first Canal Bakery. You have multiple actually in the Metro Detroit area. So when you opened up your first one, can you just talk about the challenges and successes you faced since opening your initial location?
So my first location, I opened it in 2003 on Northwestern Highway in Applegate Plaza. Mm-hmm. And it was a failure. It's like I didn't succeed at all. I failed to actually introduce new product and make it successful. A year and a half after, I went to downtown Birmingham and I opened a store over there instead. I closed the one in Southfield and opened it in Birmingham. And it was success from day one. Mm. And also spent 5 years in this location, doing very, very well, but I couldn't make a living for myself. I decided to close the location and open a wholesale bakery, which is I did successfully do good for about 2 to 3 years. Reopened the one in Birmingham after learning so many things I was not good at. Right. And it was success from day one. And this is my first success store was in Birmingham. Followed in 2019, the store in Detroit. Mm-hmm. And followed 3 years after the store in Ann Arbor. And last year we did Farmington. This year we're doing Keego.
Oh man, what ups and downs, challenges and successes of a business, and I'm glad you were open and honest about that. Some of those being, some great things that you achieved, and some of those being, hey, we tried some things that didn't last, but we got it done and we got what we got out of it. Join us right here on the Splash Live, by the way, pastry chef and owner of Canal Bakery, Matt Neo, talking about their opening. Their brand new location in Kego Harbor on Orchard Lake, by the way. Aiming for a July 12th opening, by the way, out there. Now, what type of pastries or bakery items are we talking about? Do you specialize in, Matt?
So we technically specialize in French pastries, specifically French pastries. We don't do anything except French pastries. And an upscale caliber, it's beautiful to view and to eat. And we were excited. I mean, just like we can't wait to show, which is the city near where I live. I live in West Bloomfield for like now over 20 years. And I can't wait until to show where we can offer it to the city and, love being in here.
So since we are opening up this location right here in our community, Kego Harbor, let's just talk about how it feels to actually open a location right here within the same community you work at, and actually hire and employ local people also.
So always is not easy. It's a little bit of a challenge to find the crew. So usually what we do, we use and experienced people from other locations, and we give them opportunity to run the store, to be like the store managers. And I was surprised actually, since we didn't announce the hiring part, I'm receiving like emails for people who wants to work, and I did have interview for 4 people just this morning.
Nice. And that's just the feedback that you're already getting, just announcing, your establishment in general right here in the community. And just imagine the support that you're going to get once you do actually open. So it seems like great success. And speaking of success, you also were recognized as one of the best bakeries in the Midwest by the Midwest Living magazine. Can you talk about how that feels?
It feels amazing, actually. I was honored and extremely happy when I heard that. So, best of the Midwest. That's a great achievement, and it makes your heart like, let's go and let's keep going and let's keep improving, and it makes you very excited.
Man, I know. Great inspiration also. And we kind of putting it out there to kind of put your brand on a shelf and just kind of let everyone know we're getting one of the best brands in bakery coming to our greater West Bloomfield area, specifically Kego Harbor. Before we let you go, Matt, just once again talk about your location and your establishment overall and why people should come visit.
It's an experience going to Canal. The beauty of the store, the beauty of the pastries, the environment, the customer service we do, it's gonna make you feel like you are in a different place, and it will invite you to love more and more in the city of Kego Harbor and West Bloomfield.
And we can't wait either to pay a visit out there and get some great baked goods out there. Thank you again for your time. Matt Neo, pastry chef and owner for Canal Bakery, opening up in Kego Harbor July 12th on Orchard Lake Road. We appreciate you for being here.
Thank you very much.
Great information talking about a new business popping up in the greater West Bloomfield area, specifically in Kego Harbor, Canal Bakery. Find out more about what they have going on directly on their website, caneldetroit.com, CANNELLE, Detroit.com. We got so much going on. Make sure you follow us on Facebook, Civic Center TV 15. Make sure you watch all of our segments on the website, civiccentertv.com. Also, thank you so much for being here. We are live, local, and social. It's the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM.